What do you need? Ask away. I suppose I could, but I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word. Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all. What do you need? Ask away. Such as they are. That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands. Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfelds, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go. I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us. I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves Lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere. Just left? You mean just left Ferelden? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere. About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away. Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you? I never meant it that way, don't be like that. Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills. Well, it wasn't an easy life, you know. I don't know whether or not you've noticed, but I'm not exactly the Chantry type. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he... Well, no, not very bad, not terrible. Nothing that you should be worried. I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I would be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have. He was a good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking. What do you need? Ask away. Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfelds. A whole pack of them, in fact. Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, Then fine, fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Al Eamon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough. Al Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle raised me. Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming. And raised my dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Cailan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story. What do you need? Ask away. Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring. That's just in public. In private, we have these yellow and purple tunics, right? Much more comfortable, and you don't break the beds when you jump on them during a pillow fight. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring. Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about your life, Alistair. All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right? The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it. The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home? It is. I didn't know you felt that way. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now. What do you need? Ask away. Such as they are. What do you need? Ask away.
The time has come to leave the wild.
Have you not left yet? I hope you are not hanging about for questions. One would think a Grey Warden would be more interested. What good would it do you?
Like a worn dress or an old...
Are you still here? You cannot give them away, apparently. Since before I was yes, men desired Flemeth then, and some even killed for her. I am not, nor was I then.
I hear the peace of the...
This is the thanks I...
Feed me, she says.
About the Darkspawn? Only more important by... This Tairn Loghain is different. You must deal with... Then... Have you not left yet? Questions. Have you not left yet? I prefer to remain here. That is between the world and me. It is not a matter of... What is important is... In that, you are more powerful than I by far. That is between the world and... Questions.
The time has come to leave the wilds. Do you not agree?
And I expect each of you to supply these men. We must rebuild what was lost at Ostagar, and quickly. There are those who would take advantage of our weakened state if we let them. We must defeat this do so sensibly and without hesitation.
Your lordship, if I might speak. You have declared yourself Queen Anora's regent, and claim we must unite under your banner for our own good. But what of the army lost at Ostagar? Your withdrawal was most... fortuitous.
Everything I have done has been to secure Ferelden's independence. I have not shirked my duty to the throne, and neither will any of you!
The Bannorn will not bow to you simply because you demand it.
Understand this. I will brook no threat to this nation from you or anyone.
Bantegan, please!
Your Majesty, your father risks civil war. If Eamon were here...
Bantegan, my father is doing what is best.
Did he also do what was best for your husband, Your Majesty?
I think he was out there looking for you. He's chosen you. Mabari are like that. They call it imprinting.
Does this mean we're going to have this mangy beast following us about now? Wonderful.
He's not mangy. What do you need? Ask away.
What do you wish of me? If you must. I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend. So I assume. My mother has walked the wilds far longer than I. Who am I to suggest what things she has done and not done in her past? Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know? The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed. There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled, but my life is as a human. I am under no... They do not shy away from me. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just... No? Some of these traditions, the zealots of the Chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could. But as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one. Not all apostates use the forbidden blood arts. There are those who look on the word apostate. Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination? A most practical opinion. But enough of such talk, let us proceed. What do you wish of me? If you must. I cannot teach you. Send whoever you wish my way, and... What do you wish of me? If you must. Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I? Oh, what is it you asked? If I grew up in the wild? For many years it was. In time, I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized... Would you not do the same? For all that, I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for. Equal part. Only once was I accused. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was... Men are always willing to believe. I played the weakling and battered my eye. The point being that I was... Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? At least with that sort of touching. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into... I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving. Yes? Let's ignore the entire... Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your... Well, let's get... What do you wish of me? If you must. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more. I am unsure. I was too young to understand, and... really amused. I will never know. Flemeth would warn them, and then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and... It was a game, and I... Thankfully, the wilds is a... I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of a... Perhaps they did. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become Maleficarum, evil mages that... It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit. I will note that we only ever defended ourselves. Enough of this talk. What do you wish of me? If you must. Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem? You mean it... Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened... I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can... As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth... The tales say, in truth, Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in... The life of a bard is a poor one. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his... Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. That was not the point. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All... The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth, Cormac led a brutal civil war against his... Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims, but on the whole, yes, I believe this tale. The demon within her has transformed her into... I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart. You ask if I have sisters. The stories tell of many witches. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well. How often is this usually? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I... Flemeth, dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious, nevertheless. Ah, then you... Which is very... What do you wish of me? If you must. I cannot...
What do you need?
On it.
Ugh.
Wake up, gentlemen. More travelers to attend to. Led by an elf, of all things.
They don't look much like them others. You know, maybe we should just let these ones pass.
Nonsense. Greetings, travelers.
Highwaymen, preying on those fleeing the Darkspawn, I suppose.
They are fools to get in our way. I say, teach them a lesson.
Now, is that any way to greet someone? A simple 10 silvers, and you're free to move on. Indeed, for the upkeep of the Imperial Highway. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? You want to pay more? Well, we'll happily accept donations. Wouldn't such a caravan be well guarded?
A whole caravan, right for the picking.
Go on your way. We've got work to do.
We still have...
You know, I'm beginning.
Maybe.
Of course it's made up. You owe us 20 silvers to compensate for my annoyance.
Did she say she's a...
Traitors to Ferelden, I hear.
But...
You have a point. Well, let's forget about the toll. We'll just leave you to your Darkspawn fighting, king-killing ways. You don't say.
There's really good...
Yes, 20 silvers? That's all we've collected today. And just when we...
Right.
All right, we surrender. We're just trying to get by before the Darkspawn get us all. Yes, of course. We should have been more careful. I'm sorry. Well, what could I tell you? We aren't even from these parts. Well, watching for folks fleeing from the south. Chasing from the wilds and farmholders, mostly. There aren't soldiers here anymore, so we help ourselves. We try not to hurt anyone too much. It's packed full. Well, I was just trying to feed my family. Couple, maybe. A group of wounded ash warriors came by earlier. Got right out of their way. Everyone's saying how the Grey Wardens betrayed the king during the dark. Turn Loghain pulled out just in time. First, well then, let me go! Yes, of course. The coins we collected are right here. Just over 100 silvers. The rest is in the chests we brought. I swear. What, are you joking, right? I could never be a soldier. There aren't any. Just the Templars, and they'll execute me. I'm not going down without a fight.
What do you wish of me?
What do you need? Ask away. What do you need?
Ah, so you have finally decided to rejoin us, have you? Falling on your blade in grief seemed like too much trouble, I take it.
Is my being upset so hard to understand? Have you never lost someone important to you? Just what would you do if your mother died?
Before or after I stopped laughing?
Right, very creepy. Forget I asked.
But how can I? He is right there, speaking, eyes wide like those of a brainless calf.
Oh, I get it. This is the part where we're shocked to discover how you've never had a friend your entire life.
I can be friendly when I desire to. Alas, desiring to be more intelligent does not make it so.
Anyway, I thought we should talk about where we intend to go first. But we need to decide what our general plan is for afterwards, don't we? I think what Flemeth suggested is the best idea. These treaties, have you looked at them? There are three main groups that we... I also still think that Arleman is our best bet for help. We might even want to go to him first. Short of leaving Ferelden to seek them out, the only place to send word to would be Weishaupt. I can give you directions, if you like. He'll be at Castle Redcliffe, in the far western part of Ferelden, next... If we head eastward, towards the Brisilian... We would need to speak to their king in Orzammar. That would be at their tower on Lake Carlenhard to the north. If he isn't out, we can go to Denerim, but somehow I suspect... Then you have a plan. Well, I don't...
Now that is unsurprising.
Arleman is a good man, but I don't know for sure he's where we should...
Go after your enemy directly. Find this man...
Yes, he certainly...
I was asked for my opinion and I gave it. If your wish is to come up with...
Fair enough. So let's talk about your mother for a moment.
I'd rather talk about your mother.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. And besides, isn't your mother a scary witch who lives in the middle of a forest? Much more interesting.
To you, perhaps. You would find the moss growing upon a stone interesting.
You know what? Apostates, mages outside of the tower. That's illegal, you know.
You did not read that in a book somewhere, did you? I hope the small letters did not strain you overmuch.
Oh, we could not talk about your mother. That works for me.
I brought my family to Lothering because I thought it would be safe.
Going home. Mother says we have to run before the bad men get here.
Where can we go? Where can we go? Better than what we left. This is no better than what we left.
Need something? I don't generally talk to strange elves who wander in here. promise I'm gonna answer them. What isn't? We got chastened barbarians in every farmholder south of Callanhard running from the Darkspawn. Not that they'll be safe here with the army gone. You could talk to the Elder, though she's got her hands full getting everyone on their way. For now, most folks go to Sir Bryant. He's head of the Chantry's Templars. He's gone to war and taken all his soldiers, leaving us to fend for ourselves. There's not going to be much left when he returns. If he returns. What? You mean they're gone? Well, goody for you. Now there's no one to drive off the blighted refugees. Sir Bryant will be glad, though. He's been talking about offering a reward for anyone who'd run them out. Don't let me stop you. Hey, what's on now? Can't promise I'm gonna answer them.
What do you need? What do you need? Ask away. I already...
Right.
Move on if you can. Lothering's lost. You might find that, though it's probably just frightened gossip. We've had refugees streaming from the south for the last 2 days. The Chantry and Tavern are full to bursting. There simply isn't enough food to go around, and we Templars can barely keep order. You'd be better off elsewhere, my friend. I'm just out here to keep an eye out for Darkspawn. Please ask someone in town. No offense. The band has marched north with Tern Loghain, so Lothering's on its own. Most folks look to Elder Miriam. Otherwise, you could speak to Sir Bryant in the Chantry, I suppose. It's up to you. I'm just here to keep watch.
As if we needed more fighting here. Don't you see how scared everyone is?
Back off. I have the right to charge what I wish.
You profit from their misfortune. I should have the Templars give away everything in your carts.
You wouldn't dare. Any of you step too close to my goods and I'll...
It's so nice to see everyone working together in a crisis. Warms the heart.
Oh, you there. You look able. Would you care to make a tiny profit helping a beleaguered businessman? Didn't I mention profit?
He is charging outlandish prices for things people desperately need. Their blood is filling his pockets.
'Tis only survival of the fittest. All of these cretins would do the same in his shoes, given the chance.
I have limited supplies. The people decide what those supplies are worth to them.
You bought most of your wares from these very people last week. Now they flee for their lives, and you want to talk business?
Look, stranger, I've 100 silvers if you drive this rabble off, starting with that priest. I'm an honest merchant, nothing more. Would it help these folks if they could buy no goods at all?
They spend their very last coin because they are desperate, and this man preys upon them as surely as the bandits outside the city.
Ah, I'm not arguing anymore. Drive off this woman and get your 100 silvers. Otherwise, I'm taking my wagon and leaving. Perhaps. If that woman agrees I'm allowed to charge something.
Do what you must, so long as the prices do not better the needy.
Fine, fine, done. And since you don't look too needy, normal prices for you.
So, we have come to solve every squabble in the village personally. My, but the Darkspawn will be impressed.
Thank you for your generous assistance. May the Maker watch over your path.
Don't suppose you're looking to buy something? All right. Just don't buy everything up.
Ah, the Chantry Board. Yes, let us run errands for the betterment of mankind as well as a few coppers.
And Eileen spoke unto the masses, "My hearth is yours, my..." Let all repeat.
He can't answer you. He's Chanter Devons. One of them that can only say that my father fixed Widow Allison's roof.
A learned child is a blessing upon his parents and unto the Maker.
There's all sorts of things on his board. Unless...
And so Rajmael in the heathen temple recanted. Speak only the word, sing only the chant.
Sometimes we throw pebbles at him.
What?
Oh, you got him to speak! Ha!
What hath man's sin wrought?
Oh, he cheated.
Blessed are the... For a foundation built of stone,
So many strangers
marble,
are about now.
or any precious metal is worthless if faith in the Maker is absent.
Let's get started. On it.
I don't like this.
Greetings to you, milady. If it isn't too much to ask, might you be able to spare some bread? We thought it would be safer in Lothering. Nobody cares about a few elves like us. Surely you understand. You killed them?
That's wonderful news. Perhaps our belongings are...
Get everything back. It's good to know others will be safe.
This should be easy enough. Let's get started.
agents of evil! Please, you scared better! There! One of their minions is already amongst us! This woman bears their evil stench! Can't you not see the vile blackness that fills her? Darkspawn will feast on our flesh! Everyone will die! Your king is dead! You again! Can you all not smell the evil? This one... No! Do not touch me!
He was right, wasn't he? There's no... You're right. We can't give up.
But we can't fight. What are we supposed to do?
We can't lie down and die either. We must go north to Denerim.
Maybe with that blasted chasing gone, my headache will go as well.